Chapter 63, Hit me with your best punch first. Among the two of them, one guy was named Yanwei and the other one was called Wu Hao. These two had high qualifications in the army and had always brought honor to their military region in the past military exercises. With such a halo, it was inevitable for those two to feel a bit arrogant. It was also because they were quite sensitive towards Wang Ying's attitude. They had never seen her talk this highly about someone in their military region, yet now she was praising an outsider and was even trying to invite him in. Wasn't this an embarrassment to the Honorable 8th Military Region? Su Cheng could also understand why these two weren't really welcoming him. After all, he was here to borrow their equipment to assess his current capabilities, so despite their attitude, he didn't mind it. He just told Wang Ying, if it's not convenient, perhaps I should go. To be honest, I'm mainly doing this because I have to fight a death match with someone in 2 days, so I need to warm myself up and get some last-minute training in. Hearing that Su Cheng was leaving, Wang Ying was immediately upset. She was really unhappy with Wu Hao and Yan Wei's attitude towards Su Cheng. It wasn't their home, so why couldn't she just bring someone in? Who are you battling? Wang Ying asked in curiosity. Have you heard of the leader of North Gate? Su Cheng asked Wang Ying. North Gate? You are saying? Wang Ying's eyes immediately widened. The leader of the North Gate gang came out of seclusion and said that he was challenging someone to a death match. Is that someone you? Su Cheng nodded. The match is in 2 days, my supervisor gave me the days off for me to prepare for it. You also know that normal places wouldn't offer the stuff that fits our caliber of exercise, so when I ran it into you guys today, I figured that you are from the army as well, so I wanted to borrow your equipment. Sorry. It's all right. Wang Ying didn't mind at all and shook her head. That guy the North Gate leader is challenging is you. Wu Hao and Yan Wei's interest was immediately piqued. They came closer and took a good look at Su Cheng. Yan Wei laughed and asked, are you tired of living or something? Wu Hao nodded and said, he created North Gate with his own hands, it's not something an ordinary thug can do. Although he went into seclusion for over a dozen years, his power and influence are still there, or else he wouldn't have still been able to suppress the entirety of North Gate. Brat, you could lose your life if you are too impulsive, you know that. Wang Ying yelled at those two captains. Now the point is to help him. After all, he's doing this in an attempt to disband North Gate. At this critical point, just stop discriminating against soldiers of other military regions. Help him? Isn't it simple? Just spar with us. To be honest, although we aren't the best, among the currently active service soldiers in this country, we can get into the top 50 fighters for sure, Wu Hao said. Yan Wei nodded. Yeah, we are fine with you sparring with us, but are you though? Don't tell me that you can't even go 1 or 2 rounds. Wang Ying said to Su Cheng, these two captains are both very good in melee combat, you can probably get a lot of experience if you spar with them. Su Cheng said frankly, I'm not lacking experience, I just want to find a pro that can force out my potential, so I can see where my limits are. Now that was not something Yan Wei and Wu Hao wanted to hear. Does this guy think we are not pros that can force out his potential? Just you wait, not to mention forcing out your potential, I will force crap out of your ass when I'm done with you. You do talk big. Yan Wei placed his hands on his hips and said, to tell you the truth, you are not qualified for us two to spar with you. If it wasn't for Wang Ying here, what you just said could get you beat up. You know. Wu Hao chimed in, the leader of North Gate should at least be B or even B+ in combat power, we are both C+. If you can't even beat us, then I might as well break a few bones of yours and hospitalize you so you don't end up embarrassing the police force the day after tomorrow, when you get killed by that gang leader. Okay, you two captains, you even know that he's going to be representing the police to fight those Black Society members, so just lend him a hand, Wang Ying said a few words from Su Cheng's side. The two captains exchanged a look. Wu Hao snorted as he looked at Su Cheng and said, Little brat, I heard that brat Shi Wenbin boasted how you can even kill a bull with one punch. I don't buy it. It's fine if you want us to spar with you, but first you should show us your strength so that we can see if you are even qualified to fight the North Gate gang leader or not. Su Cheng asked, how do you want me to prove it? Wu Hao, very simple. Here, punch my stomach, let me see what you got. Then, he lifted his tank top, revealing his explosive abdominal muscles. Not just Su Cheng, but even Wang Ying hesitated. Forget it, I'm afraid that I might not be able to control my strength and injure you, Su Cheng kindly declined. Yet, Captain Wu, his punch is a bit ridiculous. Wang Ying bitterly smiled. It wouldn't be good if someone gets hurt. Su Cheng added, I'm afraid that it might kill you. Wu Hao immediately glared back and shouted, nonsense! Do you know how many times I was the champion of the national military fighting competition? Do you want to go to my dorm to see the trophies? How about you come to the Hall of Fame to see my qualifications? All my years of fighting experience were gathered by putting my life on the line. Whether it's karate or taekwondo, there are plenty of people with more power than you. I've even seen guys that could blow up a punching bag with one punch or one kick. You are afraid that you will kill me? Humph! Not to mention killing me, I will recognize your abilities even if you just hurt me. Yan Wei also felt that Su Cheng was a bit boastful with his words and said, Wu Hao came from a martial artist family and had been studying martial arts since little. I heard him say that there's such a thing called qi in his body, and under normal circumstances, nothing can hurt him. He doesn't look very burly, but his punches and kicks rely on the explosive strength of his inner qi, which is very powerful. Wu Hao was pretty proud with what Yan Wei just said, and he didn't say anything, but his face clearly shows that he's very dismissive of Su Cheng and Wang Ying's words. Wang Ying was still worried that these two captains might get injured because she saw Su Cheng's strength with her own eyes back then. The numbers displayed on that machine wouldn't lie. It's fine, Captain Wu, I've seen your combat videos. Perhaps you guys have the same expectation of what a normal person's strength should be it. However, Su Cheng's strength is a bit too much for you to take. Let's not compare strength, just directly spar. If he doesn't show me his punch, how can I know what level he's at to spar effectively? I don't want to change my clothes and warm up just to spar with him. He can show me his punch, and if we think it's okay, then we will spar with him. We are busy people too, we can't just spar with anyone that you ask us to, Yan Wei said. Then, maybe we will try a punch. Su Cheng hesitated for a moment and said. After all, he was a bit curious about whether his punch works against inner chi masters like this Wu Hao claims to be. Wu Hao patted himself on the belly, held his breath, locked the inner chi in his veins and Danshan region, and said, come on.